Hello, guys. My name's Colin, and this is Colin Talks Crypto. I hope you're having a fantastic day. I don't make a lot of videos, but when I do, I like to make them about something that I feel is significant. And so today is one of those days. I want to talk about why I believe that Bitcoin is going to make some very big moves in the near future. There's 4 charts I want to focus on, and all 4 of these charts are what forms my opinion of why this big move is going to happen. And this is a big move to the upside for Bitcoin specifically. And I want to mention that it's not that altcoins are going to go down. It's that Bitcoin's going to go up more than altcoins. Altcoins and their USD valuations may stay the same or go up a little bit. But it appears to me that Bitcoin is the monster that's going to make the next move up. So let's dive right into why do I think that. So I broke it down here. Here are the 4 charts, as you can see. First, we're going to take a look at BTC as priced in US dollars. And what do we have here? Well, these are weekly candles, and you can see that we've formed sort of a downward sloping channel, megaphone pattern, sort of, if you will. It's been touching the top, the bottom, the top, the bottom, the top, the bottom, broke through it here, and then gobbled up. All that sell pressure was gobbled up. That is an extremely bullish indicator. Now, keep in mind, this is a weekly candle and it still has 2 days to close, but even on the daily chart, it looks extremely bullish. So what this tells us is that there are buyers that outnumber the sellers. And for it to deviate below the lower trend line and then be pushed back above it and above several levels of support is extremely, extremely bullish. And actually, I want to show you why every time we've seen a large wick like this, a lower wick, during a bull market, why that is incredibly bullish. So I've circled here in green 4 times where there's been a large lower wick. You can see them right here. We just had our last one, most recent one. And if you step back and you look at this, there's an unmistakable picture. And keep in mind, we're looking at the bull market portion of this cycle. Bear market has different fundamentals that operate on it. But every time we've hit one of these long lower wicks, what has immediately followed is a significant move upwards, almost immediately. And I would even go so far as to say that it appears, roughly speaking, that the magnitude of the run up is proportionate to the size of the wick. Basically, how much it deviated and how much buy pressure pushed it back up. This gives us a sort of metric for how much buy pressure really is there when the sellers exhaust themselves. And so with this back in 2020, we saw a huge lower wick. This was COVID around March. And we literally saw it go from, looks like about $3,400 or so, all the way up to $65,000. That was the most extreme example of this. But you can see these other smaller examples. And even right here, this was just earlier this year in the beginning of 2024, a long lower wick followed by what? A massive pump from about $40,000 to $70,000. Well, I see the exact same setup right now. It just occurred just this last week. We have this long lower wick, went down about 46,000 or so, gobbled up. And what is that going to tell us? I think that that tells us there's a massive move coming right around the corner, not a delay. None of these had a delay. They were all immediate pumps afterwards. But it's not just this chart that makes me feel like Bitcoin's about to do a huge move up. Although I could say that this chart by itself makes me feel quite bullish. But there's 3 other charts that sort of corroborate this, and I want to show you those as well. So that was the BTC USD chart. Now let's take a look at the BTC dominance chart. What does that look like? This is the Bitcoin dominance chart going back to 2014. And you can see that during a bull market euphoria, which was around mid 2021 and late 2021, Bitcoin dominance is at its low, actually. So actually, for us to be at the peak would mean that Bitcoin dominance is at its lowest, because that's when retail goes and buys up all the altcoins in a speculative gambling frenzy. So actually, the peak of Bitcoin dominance is not the peak of the cycle, just as a by the way. And Just taking a look at where's the most support, resistance, and that sort of thing. Well, we just broke out of a region right here, and you can see that Bitcoin dominance, while many thought it had already topped, I saw so many calls for that, it has not topped. And 56% was not the top. It's already at 57.7% as of today. And I think that based on these various resistance levels, that the target is between 60 and 63% for Bitcoin dominance. That means that we have a little ways to go. Now, that also means that Bitcoin could be making a run up. There's two ways that Bitcoin dominance can move up. It could be if Bitcoin goes up relative to altcoins, or it could be if altcoins drop more than Bitcoin drops, or if Bitcoin goes sideways, for example. But taking into account the chart we just saw before this, BTC, USD, the long lower wick, and the pump that's likely to follow, my guess is that of the two methods for Bitcoin dominance going up, the method that's going to occur is Bitcoin USD is going to shoot out through the roof, while altcoins either stay the same, go up a little bit, but Bitcoin is going to dominate and outperform them, at least in the weeks to come. And also note that Bitcoin dominance just broke out of this ascending triangle, and it's not necessarily topped yet. There's no cap on this. The next resistance level really is 60% that I see. We may get a slight bit of resistance around 58% or 58.5% right here, but really the next level to me is 60 to 63%. So this is the next reason why I think that Bitcoin is actually going to make a move up, Bitcoin USD. So the third chart is alts priced in Bitcoin minus Tether. And that's that chart right here. And this is full credit goes to Benjamin Cohen of the Cryptoverse, of Into the Cryptoverse. This is his chart. He created this formula. You can see in the top left corner here. Feel free to type this into TradingView and you can recreate this yourself. But basically this shows us altcoins as priced in Bitcoin, but removing USDT, the largest stable token, from the equation because it has nothing to do with the price of Bitcoin or altcoins. So it kind of murkies up the chart. But by removing it, as we've done here, it gives us a clear picture of what's going on. And as Ben's pointed out, and I agree with him, there's this sort of support level that gets eventually broken through, at least in the last cycle, and it looks like this cycle as well. And when that happens, you have altcoins as priced in Bitcoin dropping significantly. And I've indicated with these two yellow arrows where I think it's roughly headed. And if it hits this green box down here, this would be the time to buy altcoins with Bitcoin because that's when you'll get the most outsized returns. It's a slow process, but you can see it's already broken down right here. It's broken down, it's confirmed below, it's rejected from this support line. So to me, that is a very high certainty play that altcoins are going to lose value in relation to Bitcoin. Or as I put it in the last two charts, I think what's actually going to happen is Bitcoin USD is going to outpace altcoins, and that's going to push this chart down. Lastly, we have the Ethereum BTC chart, another flavor of what we just looked at, but this is specific to Ethereum. And I've been looking at this for a long time. I feel like it's been 2 years. In fact, it has been 2 years. I sold some of my Ethereum for Bitcoin way up here back in 2022. And I've been waiting for it to drop ever since. And slowly but surely it has. And I've had my eye on this sort of local low, which I felt strongly that it would eventually break through, only because it happened in prior cycles. If you look at this as the support on the previous cycle, you can see how it bounces, it tests, and it broke through. Here, it bounced, it test, it broke through. I think it's going to go minimally down to this third major target of 0.0365 or 0.035, somewhere in there. I think that's a minimum bottom for this ETH BTC price. But here's my second major target and my third major target down here if you want to take a look. And that's where I'll be slowly trading back some of my Bitcoin for Ethereum at these lower ranges. This chart to me, again, is showing us why I think that Bitcoin could go up in the near future, because we just broke down from this massive descending triangle. I mean, if you do the price target from the peak to the base and you draw the line from here down, I don't have the ruler tool with me, but it's a lot further than we've come already. So that tells me that Ethereum relative to Bitcoin is going to drop in value, or another way of putting it is Bitcoin is going to outpace Ethereum, aka Bitcoin USD rockets while Ethereum stays the same, goes up a little bit, goes down a little bit, whatever. But basically, Bitcoin is poised to continue outperforming Ethereum, at least in the next short to medium term. I am bullish on Ethereum in the long term, so do not get me confused with that. That's why I'll be buying some at these lower targets. I want to hold some Ethereum, but I want to hold it at good prices. Okay, guys, I'm going to keep this video short. That's what I see. That's why I think that Bitcoin is poised for making one of the hugest moves we've seen this cycle, and it's going to happen soon. And these 4 charts all would make sense if that happened. The technical analysis all looks like that's going to happen. And so if Bitcoin was to make that massive move, it would play out perfectly. Thanks for joining me, guys, and I hope you have a fantastic day.